Tip number one would be to create time alone if you get drained by being around people. In other words, if you're an introvert, if being around a lot of people gives you social anxiety or makes you feel exhausted, create time in your travels to be alone. Like, for example, I flew in before everybody else. I found a cute little breakfast spot and had a yummy breakfast by myself where I could just regroup from the flight that I was just on, have some time alone to enjoy my own presence. Solitude is fun. I don't know why people make it sound so lonely and sad and depressing. Like, eating a meal alone helped me pause and was a great way to start my trip. Just made it. I'm the first one to make it to the Airbnb. Everybody else drove. So some of the girls drove from Miami and some of the girls flew to a farther airport and they're renting a car and driving the rest of the way. So I get to see the place first. I like it. I mean, I knew what it was going to look like before because we all voted on it and talked about it in the group chat. So like you just saw, I went to have breakfast after leaving the airport. I had to wait until the Airbnb was ready and we were allowed to check in. And I like having time to myself before I'm around a lot of people because you guys know that being around people drains me. So I need my time to center before I let everybody else in. I'm sleeping in this room on the bottom bunk and there's no room really. Me and someone else. My friend will be up top. There's barely any room for suitcases. So I'm gonna start putting my stuff in this drawer and maybe in the closet because there's really no room for us to open up this suitcase and lay it out. We would have nowhere to walk. So I'm gonna do that and maybe put my suitcase in this closet and then just, repack when I'm ready to leave. And now is when I'm realizing I brought way more than I needed. The fact that I can't fit all my clothes in one drawer is proof that for 5 days I overpacked. Tip number two, and this is something that I always do, make sure at least one family member or friend knows your whereabouts as you travel. You can never be too careful and you want at least one person who isn't there with you to know what's going on. This is me editing the video that I posted last week, so please check it out because I made sure it came out on time even though I was out of town. But like I was saying, it looks different for everyone, whether you share your location on the Find My Friends app on your phone, or if you're dealing with someone who's a little more old school, you can tell them the address of the hotel or Airbnb, or at least tell them the city you'll be in, so when you tell them you made it there safe, they know where. Checking in is extremely important. I do it all the time. Even when someone leaves my house, I always ask them to text me when they get home, and I mean it because you can never be too safe. We just got back from breakfast. They had really good food. Now we're gonna get dressed and go to the beach. Yesterday they had riptide, meaning you couldn't get in the water. I think the fine was like $500 if you go in because the waves are so bad they'll drag you out. So hopefully they don't have that today, but the weather is beautiful, so here we go. Tip number three, especially if you're a girlfriend like me, do your hair in a way that's easy to maintain and style. If there's one thing we don't have during vacation, it's time. It's precious and it's running out. So find yourself a hairdo that is quick and low maintenance. Trust me, you will thank me later. They're trying to decide if they're gonna get residuals off of this YouTube video, and yes, you will. We wrote a contract.
Royalties, baby. I have 2 lawyers representing me here, so I'm ready.
This was my first time doing mini twists on myself. What do you guys think? Do you like them? I really loved how easy it was to get dressed and out the door. This is Heidi, the planner of the whole trip. You guys go on girls trips with your friends and you're unorganized, you don't have an itinerary, you don't know who's doing what. Not on her watch. Nope. This is not her first rodeo. She's not new to this, she's true to this. Look how beautiful. Sheesh. But the red thing means that we can't swim? Yeah. Tip number 4, make sure you stay on top of all weather updates and warnings, not just before you go, but every time you leave the house to go towards something in nature. We couldn't go in the water, so we stayed under this umbrella, telling jokes, eating snacks. And looking back, sitting together under the umbrella on the beach was the first time the entire group got to really bond. You know, when there are a bunch of people who are in a group, you kind of have little cliques, not in a bad way, but just naturally some people are closer than they are to other people. In my opinion, that was really the icebreaker of the group trip because from that point forward, everybody was mixing it up, not sitting next to the same person every time, not driving in the same car every time. Everybody was comfortable with being with someone they might not have known that well before they came in. And bonding moments are important to have. So even though we couldn't get in the water, we still had a great time. And dinner was delicious. The restaurant we went to had fresh seafood caught that day. I had scallops and girl. Last but not least, tip number 5, don't be afraid to sit in silence while you guys are on the trip. Some people feel like you have to fill every moment with talking, conversation, banter. Definitely not necessary. This boat trip was 1 hour to the sandbar that you'll see in a little bit. And we were jamming to music. Some of us were on our phones. Some of us were just enjoying the beautiful view. And the conversation picked right back up when we anchored. I thought this vlog would be one video, but it's actually going to be 2. And in part 2, I'm going to share a little bit of when it got a little spicy within the group. So if you don't want to miss that, please subscribe. Follow me on the socials. They're right here on Instagram and TikTok. And follow the girls. I tagged them too because we had such a good time. This is a little karaoke that we did. It was JoJo. Get out. Until the next time, act accordingly. Bye.